So the day is finally here to put in my food plot screening. My screening that I'm going to use this year, again for the third year in a row, is called Fortress from Grandpa Ray Outdoors. Fortress blend has a mix of Egyptian wheat, pearl millet, and then two kinds of sorghum. One is a screening sorghum and one is a grain sorghum or a forage sorghum. And what I've done the last couple years is at the edge of this food plot here that I've shown in a couple videos that has clover in it, I've put about a 10 to 15 yard wide patch of this screening. And what this does is several things. I've done some videos in the past about the benefits of screening in your food plot and how it's helped me. It funnels deer in the direction you want them to go. It doesn't mean they're not going to be out actually in the screening sometimes, but it kind of acts as a barrier or a fence. It helps you get in and out of your stands. It helps with access as far as you can hide behind it as you're walking in or leaving your stand. And it does provide some feed. Last year I had several deer that would browse and mill around in the fortress and the screening quite a bit. So it does that too. There's a lot of other benefits to it as well. Go back and watch the video that I've done on that in the past. So the other thing I'm going to do today is up around the edge of this food plot, I'm going to put a little strip or two of just straight milo, just straight sorghum. The deer really liked sorghum last year, or milo in our food plots. We had some down in the timber that did really well, and the deer ate it in about 15 days in August, so it didn't help me out that much in deer season, but it was kind of a good project to see what they would eat. And then I'm going to put some over here by the high-rise stand where I just don't have a good stand of anything growing there. There's a little bit of alfalfa there, and I think I might mix in some, I've got a little bit of leftover clover seed that has 3 or 4 different kinds of clover that I overseeded into this year. And I think I'm going to put the leftover alfalfa I have over there too. In the past years, I've done this the first week of May, and it has been super slow going. It can be 6 to 8 weeks before I ever see any real growth from the Fortress screening. It'll come up, it germinates, it gets 12 inches tall or so, and then it just kind of would just not grow very well. So the recommendation from Grandpa Ray's this year was to wait until the first week of June. Makes a lot of sense. I usually am afraid of not having rain at that time. It's been raining today, but it's been super dry for the last month or more here in Northwest Missouri, and so what little bit of rain we got is not going to make it too muddy to plant today or anything like that. And we've got another chance of rain Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So hoping that should really get it taken off. When you consider the soil temperatures need to be a certain height for certain forages to grow, your air temperatures need to be, in May, we were having lows at night in the 40s. And so that's a good reason why it doesn't do very well in May. And so getting that first week of June, we're going to see what happens, and hopefully it'll take off and really explode out of the soil and get to growing really fast. The other place that I'm going to put the Fortress screening, I was only going to put milo there, but now I think I'm going to have enough Fortress left over to do it, is right down behind me. You probably can't see it, but there's the edge of this place we call the walkway. I'll do a review of the deer stand down there one of these days, but I'm going to put it at the edge of that. I talked about this in a video that I did not that long ago about using milo as a screening and how it's beneficial, and then also went over kind of what I was prepping here. But I've had times the last couple of years where deer have come down into the walkway from out in this plot, and I have no barrier between me and them. And so this year I'm going to try to put some Fortress there, maybe about 15-20 yards into the walkway, to kind of screen that area. But the biggest thing is as they venture their way down there, I'll still be able to see them out here, but as they make their way down through there, I'll have something to block their view so that I can get my bow drawn and be able to take a deer or get a shot at one. I think that would be really cool to see that plan come into place. As they're making their way down, I can hopefully be able to get a shot on one of them. So it'd be really cool to see that happen. So that's what I'm working on today. I'm going to hop on the tractor and I'll show you guys kind of what I'm doing, and we'll broadcast some seed. And I'm going to, my steps are going to be disc. I've done no-till the last few years. It hasn't done that well. I just don't think I get good seed to soil contact. Although this thatch that's here, actually there's not a lot of anything that's come up weed-wise, or grass-wise. So I'm going to hit this with the disc one time, just lightly work it. I don't want to break up any organic matter that I have down there that's being beneficial. I'm going to try to disturb it as little as I can, but I want to be able to get good seed to soil contact. I'm going to disc this. I'm going to broadcast my seed. I'm going to go get the harrow, and I'm going to harrow this in. And then my last step is going to be spraying it with liquid fertilizer. And I'll kind of show you guys how I do that as I go. But it's a liquid fertilizer. It's 1149. It's a higher nitrogen one. Egyptian wheat, things like that, being in the corn family, I believe they like nitrogen. So that's what's going to be sprayed on those. spraying strategy, I try to spray later in the evening after the sun is kind of down behind the trees or there's not sun shining bright. Today it's very overcast and cloudy, so I think it's going to work really well to spray this even earlier in the day. But the strategy of spraying in the evening or in the early morning, I prefer in the evening, because then you've got, if you spray at 7 o'clock at night, say when it's dark, or not dark, but whenever it's getting darker, that liquid is going to have a lot longer to stay on the ground. The sun isn't going to fry it and evaporate it out, and it's going to have a lot longer to stay on the plants and continue to just get into those plants and help them grow and be beneficial. It'll also make its way down into the soil. Any that doesn't land on a plant, it'll get into the soil and benefit it that much more. So as you guys can see, I broke the ground up. The thing about disking and working your ground is that you lose a lot of moisture that's already in there, moisture that's safe in there, by disking or tilling at all. That said, sometimes it has to happen in order to be able to get good seed to soil contact. But what you guys can see here is I broke the ground up. I only ran over this once. A couple places I ran over it twice. This is down in the walkway like I was talking about. The deer stand is right there. And I only went in about 10, 15, 20 yards, like I said. But the thing is in here, this was all green. There wasn't anything dead in here. So it's pretty much soil. But even after a rain today, you can still see it's pretty dry. But it's supposed to rain this weekend, so we'll see what happens. But this will guarantee good seed to soil contact. Then I got to have moisture. But up here, what was kind of interesting, I thought, is out here where I had mowed a few weeks ago, and you can see that in that previous video where I was talking about prepping this, there's still, it's not solid dirt. There's still a lot of thatch, a lot of dead stuff. The thing about this is that will hold moisture so much longer on top of your soil. And that's why people like no-tilling methods and stuff, is it gives you a lot of moisture there that's going to hang on a lot longer. So I kind of like that it didn't work in. It's a lot of crop residue still on top that's going to hold moisture. It's the same thing as whenever you sow new grass seed in your yard and you throw down straw with it. That straw helps hold moisture in. So there's soil there that's visible that the seed is going to hit, but then I've got a lot of crop residue that once we get a rain, there's a ragweed we need to get rid of. Some more crop residue. Once we get a rain, that's going to help hang on to that moisture that much longer.
Thank you for watching Farming for Whitetails. We'll see you next time.